Right, are we live now?
We're live, I think.
Okay. Right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Welcome to the Sandwich Toll Bridge Fund Finance Committee on Wednesday, the 21st of January 2026. We had there was a break in the transmission because the previous meeting was discussing a confidential item. So we're now back online. So welcome to everybody. First of all, Town Clerk, have we got apologies for absence, please?
Yes, we have got Councillor Green, Councillor Pennington personal commitments, Councillor Anderson personal commitments, with Councillor Morehouse substituting for her, with Councillor D and P Carter have work commitments.
Thank you. So we are quorate with Councillor Morehouse substituting. Thank you. Next item, 01-2062. Have we got any declarations of disclosable pecuniary interests in respect to business? No? Thank you. The third item then are the minutes of the Finance Committee, which were attached to the papers. Anybody got any items they wish to raise which are not covered elsewhere? No? Okay. Could I have a proposer, please? Oh, sorry, did you want?
I'm just making, just checking on the action, but we'll come on to those.
Many of them are covered in the action log and
Yeah.
so
I'm happy to propose some minutes.
on. I'd like to have a second, please. Councillor Wiles?
Yeah.
Vote, please.
I'm good.
Unanimous, thank you.
Would you sign, please?
Oh, sign those, yes. So I finish each page.
It's double-sided, that one, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
I tried to do
And I sign and date the third page.
Well, we've missed a page, we missed two.
Mr. Page. There we go. Thank you. Public participation. Have we had any notifications of public participation?
No.
Thank you. So we'll move on to the next item. Payment schedules and finance reports. We've got 5A to 5K. So I'll run through each one. First of all, 5A, Tollbridge Fund Guildhall payment schedules for end December 25. Or no questions? Proposer and a seconder, please.
Are we doing them all individually?
Well, I think 5A to 5J, I think could be done individually. I've got some comments I'd like to make on K.
Okay.
Okay, 5B, Tollbridge Fund payment schedules for end of December. Questions? Okay. 5C, museum payment schedules. 5D, to receive and approve the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund Guildhall bank account reconcile statement. 5E, Sandwich Tollbridge Fund reconcile statement. 5F, to receive the museum bank account reconcile statement. 5G, to receive and approve the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund group cash book statement. 5H, to receive and approve the budget year variance report, and to 5I, to receive and approve the budget variance report for the Guildhall, and 5J, to receive and approve the budget variance report for the museum year to November. I should say I had a meeting with the RFO to go through a couple of minor queries that I have resolved to my satisfaction, but I always meet with him a few days before the papers come out. So could I, if all of those are, could I have a proposer, please?
Proposal.
Second. Seconded, right. Vote, please. Thank you. The next item is 5K, the Court Achievement Report. This is quite a detailed report because it also covers a lot of other data that they sent to us about voting that they had at various meetings and so on. I don't propose to discuss this. What I'm interested in, I had a long conversation with the RFO as well. They are saying they've got an annual return of 11.3%, which is lower than it was before. And then when you look at the comparators that they're quoting, there seems to be something like a 4 to 5% difference. However, I was not very happy with what was being reported to us, and I asked the RFO to produce, you may remember about 4 months ago, the RFO produced a document like this, which was a comparator with various other much more similar organizations. He's done the same. Unfortunately, we didn't get it in time to to put it on the papers, but I do have spare copies, which I will issue at the end of this meeting, which actually shows that Quilterchilia, and we couldn't quite understand that, and he has spoken to them, the comparator they're putting in their monthly reports is not an apples with apples comparator, it's an apples and pears comparator. It's compared with organizations that have very, very different risk and ethics profiles from charities. When we look at the Quilterchilia comparator with 4 or 5 of the major charity type funds, they're actually doing significantly better than most. I would like to discuss it in a bit more detail at the next meeting, but it is quite important when we come on to one of the other papers later on in this meeting. They are actually doing a lot better. Now, he's going to raise this with Quilterchilia again. And do Quilterchilia come and give an annual presentation to us? Yeah. They do. I think if we could make a note for the record, I will do for me to ask Quilterchilia, why are you using comparators that actually understate what, or rather imply your performance is not as good as your comparators when you're not using Apple for Apple comparators. Sorry if that sounds a little bit convoluted, but we did receive a similar report about 3 to 4 months ago. So they're actually doing better than we thought they were doing. But quite rightly, a number of councillors have questioned just why we're even with them with such apparently poor returns compared to the opposition. Right. That's all there. So could I take a proposal and a seconder for the Quilterchilia report, please? Opposed. Thank you. The seconder, please. Councillor Wiles, Councillor Marie proposed, and all in favour? Thank you. Right. Moving on to the priorities, the torts status, and the action log, which are in your papers. There's been quite a bit of progress on this. So we're getting a report from the 4 councils on the performance of Quilterchilia. That is in the papers today. We will cover that. The property manager will be giving an update on St Peter's Hall. That's in the papers today. The RFO, the finance chair, and the clerk and I have met to discuss the advantage issues that we'd had, particularly in relation to the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund. We've had a long, hard discussion about this, and perhaps we didn't.
Sorry, sure. Yeah, I'm live, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Apologies.
It looks as if perhaps when we made the decision to go to Advantage, we did not buy the optimal software. There are workarounds that the RFO is happy with in the sense that they will produce accurate results, but they are workarounds. this software does have a number of issues. It's perhaps more suited to simpler and smaller councils, but we are where we are. The supplier is working very well with the RFO and wants to develop their own product so they can sell it better. So we have a good relation with them. But the benefits accrue as much to the supplier as they do to us. And of course, as the customer, we want the benefits. The focus also previously was perhaps more on Sandwich Town Council rather than the Toll Bridge Fund. And that has changed now. I think we've got a better balance between the two funds. And that's the The software license runs for another 3 years. We took the view that because we could do various workarounds and it ran for another 3 years, we were content at the moment to carry on with the software and not to seek to break that contract, because that will take a lot of time, could be litigious, and will not necessarily give us a great deal of benefit. And besides, we'd still have to go through another purchasing decision. And our recommendation is that we leave it for 3 years, but when we next comes up, and assuming that I'm still a councillor, I think we need to ask a lot more questions than perhaps we did, and perhaps of officers than we did as well, and to check how our size and complexity compares with some of the other customers of any software system. So that's the situation with that. So I think we can say that item, which is 25.3, is complete now. 25.7 is the VAT issue, and we've got that coming up as a meeting later. The car park, which is 25.08, is not due just yet. And the report from the January meeting on staffing costs we discussed under the confidential section of the STC. So I don't think we've got an action point there. So the action log is significantly reduced, but I'm happy to take any questions on it. No questions? Could I have our proposer, please? For this, Councillor Morehouse, secondary. Councillor Tucker. Vote, please. Thank you. Unanimous. Right. The next thing is 126.7, which is a report on the investment strategy. And I think it was very useful to get this report from the RFO about how well Quilter Cheviot is doing, and I'll distribute it to people at the end of the meeting.
I can append it to the...
Can you? Oh, that would really be first rate, thank you. We really had a look at the time. This is going back a few months now, and to a certain extent, we've moved on. 4 councillors met, Councillors Breen, Pennington, Ungerson, and myself, to have a look at this. And we asked the question, what's the best way to do this? Do we carry on with an investment manager, or do we go to an independent financial advisor? And we didn't arrive at any specific conclusion. You see that in section 1, there's the arguments for and against. The current status we've covered with Quilter Cheviot. That's been significantly, but they've overstated the problem, I think, but we're going to address that. There's discussion on the Maddox charity current status, which may be moved on a little bit since then. Section 4 was the risk profile. We did have a long discussion, and of course, your risk profile does affect your return, and we actually have probably a lower risk profile than we might have. We've made some suggestions here that we should spread the risk a bit more and take a bit more higher risk for certain amounts of some, and confine the lower risk to a smaller section. We also suggested which areas we might want to not invest in, but also what areas we would want to. So the options really are do we go to an independent financial advisor, or do we stay with a management company? Do we seek to have one management company or one independent financial advisor for both Maddox and Simon's Tollbridge Fund? There may be some cost savings with that, but there are perceptions that we want to manage these two funds rather differently. And do we explore any other avenues? And that really is the substance of this report. And we were asked to note this report and decide if we should go forward to SDC and STBF. One suggestion was that the person from Harris Allday who has left them might be a suitable person to talk to about way forward. I also have, through contacts with my son who works in the city, but this is no benefit to his company or to him, is that he has discovered a company that specializes in charities and their investment portfolios, and I could, with your agreement, at least approach them to see what they might be able to do for us in terms of giving us some advice and what any costs would be. So I would propose that as something that I do, but it is without prejudice on either part. And then let me emphasize, this gives no financial benefit to myself, my son, or the company he works for. He actually works for a company that produces these kind of reports, right? So they don't get any benefit from them. So really, the issue is, do we want to take this report forward to STC and STBF? And secondly, would you be happy for me to at least approach these charity specialists to see what they could do for giving us some advice? I'm happy to discuss this.
I think the issue I've got is there's a large raft of information presented to us without any clear direction. When I drill down into the detail, I don't see the poor performance that everybody was up in arms about. So, for example, a yield of averaging out at 7% per annum over 10 years, to me seems reasonable. The comparators that we've had in the last few months suggest that, of course, Cheviot sits at least somewhere in the middle, if not towards the top of performers. So I suppose for me, the issue is taking a raft of information to STC and STBF. What will be the outcome? Because I don't know what are we trying to achieve? Are we trying to just assure that we're okay? Are we trying to make a significant change? Because actually the changes proposed are quite multiple and diverse.
So you've got some questions to whether this has been overtaken by events to a certain extent?
My personal view is the angst that's being felt by some councils isn't as reasonable now, looking at and that's the exercises that has helped to take out some of that heat out of the situation, which is good. And then that leaves you into a situation, actually, we've got about 5 or 6 chess moves in front of us, and none of us are professional chess players. So anyway, there we go.
So expression, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's how I'm feeling.
Well, that's now we know it ain't as broke as we thought it was.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
Any other points?
I mean, my view is we shouldn't carry on endlessly discussing this. It makes more sense to get independent advice from someone who knows what they're talking about.
Okay.
You know, but I don't think we're in a crisis situation now. We're doing okay, I think.
So the
Could
comparators.
have done a bit better, but
Yeah.
it's not the end of the world.
I mean, every time we get an investment report coming to STBF, there's always a certain couple of councils that complain about it every single time.
Yes.
And every single time we say the same thing, it goes round in circles. regarding ethical investments and stuff like that. And I was just thinking, my opinion would be, is to, if they're looking after the investments for the Tollbridge Fund, and the way I see it, they are the experts, we're not. So if they say to us, oh, we advise us to do this, and this would be a good idea, so, then my opinion would be go for it. Regarding how it's all done, I think we should keep the Maddox and the Tollbridge funds completely separate, because we've seen the mismanagement of the Tollbridge fund in the past, and we don't want the same thing to happen to us regarding Maddox. Maddox is there purely for the town; it's not for paying staff or paying for a building, and that's the whole idea. The other thing I'd like to comment on is regarding, obviously you said your son's in this line of work, and to gain advice, yes, by all means, if you wish to have a chat with that person, with your son, then by all means, but just be careful of what's happened in the past regarding closeness, regarding people in investment, regarding people that have been involved in the council, that have been involved in other businesses as well, and bringing it to the council. Just bringing yourself or the council into dispute or conflict of interest is the biggest thing for me.
I think what, just sort of on a sort of perspective on the code of conduct type sort of issue, I think Councillor Marie raises a really good point, that given that it's not that bad, to materially improve the situation, we would have to make some sort of deep wholesale change. And if that deep wholesale change is espoused by a contact of yours, that's going to be problematic.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean?
I fully understand that. I mean, that's why I'm trying to raise it.
I mean, we've all seen it in the past. That's why some of us are here. That's why some of us joined the council in the first place, is because of stuff that's been happening, the conflict of interest that were quite bad over the course of those 4 or 5 years ago. We can't have history repeat itself. I keep saying it within the council. I've said it many times, and I'll just my thing is just be wary. That's it. That's my concern. But obviously, it's a council decision. It's democracy. It's what we decide as a collective to what we do. But my concern is, I don't want history to repeat itself regarding contacts in commas, as it were.
That's fair enough.
And for me, I suppose if it's going to go to STC and STBF, it needs to be very clear about what the outcome of this is. What we've got actually is a download of a lot of information. Yeah. So it needs to, and the whole point about having this working group was for them to do all the analysis and then give the outcomes. What this feels like is we've been given the analysis, and I'd much prefer it was a lot tighter and better worded into. So, for example, risk profiling. Well, we've done an exercise of risk profiling with all councillors with qualifications, but then it's presented here. We might want to do it differently. That just doesn't feel right. We all came into a meeting and we all agreed what the risk profile should be. If there's an argument the risk profile is wrong, then that needs to be presented stronger rather than just sort of giving it could be 1 million in this category and 1.5. So the argument needs to be clear and strong, and I don't see a clear and strong argument to enable 16 councillors to actually have a consensus.
And it's all, as I said before, it's always the same. I don't mean to be rude, but it's always the same councillors, individuals that complain about certain things regarding.
Which is why we brought someone into the tent.
You did.
Could I make this suggestion? Can I just confirm, we're due to have another meeting with Quilter Cheviot at some time during the year, are we not?
I didn't know that this happened.
It happens every year.
It happens every year.
We probably have to invite them, and it is in the first quarter.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It's normally May, June time.
Sort of.
So should I get in contact with them?
Yes, and just check when did we last engage with them, and we'd like to do this a year forward.
And I think we will be much better prepared now to, I think we can ask them far more intelligent questions. Specifically, why are they using some comparables that are a bit odd, whereas we've got some information that are not doing so badly at all.
Yeah.
And I think that is in new information we didn't have when we set up this group. In terms of discussing the risk profile with them, that is the time to discuss the risk profile. Again, because we'd have all the councillors there.
Sorry, Councillor Black, what I don't want as well, if we do invite Quilt TV, which happens every single year that I've been in the council, is that it goes off piece regarding the questions and the comments made to Quilt TV. Some of the comments I've known a few years ago were quite harmful as a word to say, with the comments that they're making regarding their investments and who they use, etc. That's nothing to do with this council. It's who they use and what.
I think, yeah, you're right.
I think set questions are needed to them so they can prepare before they come to us and say, right, okay, these are the questions you've asked, this is what we've come up with, and then they give a valid report. My way to address that, I think, is to say whoever's chairing the meeting keeps them at very tight focus. Yeah.
And say, you're the professionals, you do this, we pay you, while you take you take a cut to make sure you're doing the job properly. Would this be an STC meeting for Quilt Achievement?
It'd be STBF.
It'd be STBF. Well, we have the STBF.
What it would be is a pre-meeting is what we did last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we have this annual meeting and the chair of the meeting keeps a very tight focus on, we're concerned about the return that you deliver to us and how you compare with proper comparators. If we are satisfied with that, there doesn't seem to be a particular reason to change. Don't forget, this was GRIP at the time. We were getting a lot of criticism, misinformed criticism, and not helped by them to achieve it themselves.
Yeah.
In those circumstances, then, I'd be prepared to say we don't take this much further if we're now genuinely satisfied that they're doing a much better performance, and leave it as a report as issues to raise with Quilt Achievement, particularly the risk profile and also where their returns are. They're also, even one of the people who were very concerned about the ethical approach has changed their opinion because the world has changed. Where absolute no-nos in the past are, we might have to think about this.
And it's changing even more probably between now and...
Yeah.
Half 10 tonight.
Yes, exactly. I just want to make a couple more requests, if I may, Councillor Black, regarding, so if we do a pre-meeting, obviously it'd be a full STBF STBF, let's put my teeth back in, meeting, and also I would like that meeting, if it's possible, the pre-meeting to be a closed door meeting.
I would assume it has to be.
What?
It has to be a closed meeting, it's not an open public meeting.
I'm just, the concern is a bit obviously because of what happened regarding the KCF meeting we had before. That's my opinion.
Yes, it's a private meeting as far as I'm concerned.
And that needs to be made perfectly clear.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is not an open public meeting.
The pre-meeting has always been just councillors on their own.
We should decide on the three.
I'm not going to,
No,
I
we'll
need to think
reflect
about
on that.
Yeah,
Right.
Okay, well, our opinion, I think the
because actually,
opinion council
you're
itself is
talking
that-
about public money, Councillor Marie, and making sure that it's.
STBF is a charity, it's not public money.
It is a charity, yeah. Well, you've got, the opinions of two councillors are that at least it should be a private meeting. We will take some advice from you when you have a chance to consider it.
Perhaps the trustees at the Quilt Achieve It, I could ask Quilt Achieve It to bring forward a risk profile form that they could all fill in at that meeting that Quilt Achieve It could then
That's a good idea.
take away.
Very good idea.
You know, and then it is actually, it's not hearsay and it's not discussion, it's actually a form. Like you did for the Harris Hall Day, the investor profile, that one there.
Excellent suggestion. So, the proposal is that, first of all, we circulate this with the minutes, so people can get a view of what it is. Secondly, we don't take this report any further at this stage, but we have an annual meeting with Quilt Achieve It in the next few months.
So I've written that RFO will contact Quilt Achieve It to schedule the annual meeting at which the risk profile can be discussed.
Risk profile and comparators. I think we ought to stress comparators as much as that.
Okay.
And then obviously this paper we have in front of us is obviously will kind of be deferred until
till after
Don't,
the.
Till
don't
after the
think it will be, need to be refreshed after that.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. If that's that's what I am proposing, can I have a
I'll second that.
Right. Okay, vote please. Thank you, folks. It's been a bit of a haul to get there, but we are where we are. As the times change. The next we've got on the report on partial exempt status of VAT. You've seen the report here. Trying to summarise this, the advice that the RFO and the town clerk have received is that we are not, STBF is not a business supplying goods and services to STC, and therefore VAT is not applicable. Were it a business, then that VAT would be applicable, and of course on a few $100,000, that would be quite a significant feature. The purpose of STBF is to discharge its obligations as a charity. So the advice from the VAT experts is carry on with what we're doing. Whether we need to get any further advice, they were not convinced that we needed, but we needed to keep a watching brief on this.
So this is exactly the question that I asked the RFO. I asked him, we've got this piece of advice from PS Tax, but as with all things, they qualify their advice. And at the end of the day, the HMRC or the, they are the final arbiters in these matters. So the RFO went off and did some research, independent research into PS Tax, and basically, other than going to ask an opinion from the HMRC directly, the advice is really good. It's as good as we are likely to be able to get. It is still qualified advice, but it is, we have to go with it. We don't have to go with it, but
It seems sensible
yeah,
to do so.
we need to be aware it's qualified advice, but that they are the experts in VAT specifically for local councils. So couldn't be more niche.
No, and the other feature that was made clear was that provided you have done a good degree of due diligence, that if the decision or the information turns out to be wrong, that any liabilities you've got are significantly reduced. So it is also a belt and braces approach. So I would propose that we note the report and
Accept the recommendation.
accept their recommendations.
So you've got a second of that.
Councillor Wiles, I propose to
Do
bring
that.
Happy with that, thank you. The staffing cost budget versus actual 126.9 we have already discussed in the private session, so the confidential session. I don't propose to make any further comments on that because we made a decision there.
It says to note the report. So
To note the
propose
report.
propose noting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Agreed.
The next item is 126.10
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Councillor Black. Who proposed the VAT?
I did,
And second
and
of
the
Thank
second
you very
was
much.
Councillor Wiles.
The other one.
Oh, well, wait a minute. Okay. 126.10, report from the property manager on electrical works at St Peter's Hall,
Yep, I'll keep it very brief.
please.
Yeah. Soon as I was there early hours of the morning, actually it wasn't that early, but I met the electricians there. We've undertaken the most important works, the essential works that need to be done to the electric. We are responsible as landlords. I don't really know what to add. It's now safe. There's going to be other works that we will need to be carried out that will fall into the next financial year, and it's in the budget.
Yeah.
Nothing really more to add, but for the fact that obviously I had discussions like we will with all the tenants now going forwards. Obviously, is regarding their responsibilities as tenants under the, under health and safety. So going through the process, what we've obviously got here is then taking that and looking for them to do this, the same. So I've got nothing else really to add, but the work has been done.
Thank you.
The
Councillor Wells?
costs seem fairly modest.
Yes,
I would propose that we accept the report and recommendations.
Second.
Did you want to raise something else, Councillor Marie?
No.
I would, you propose.
We're just noting it.
We're just noting it.
It's already been budgeted for, so.
I would specifically like to.
sorry.
Over the top of the budget.
It wasn't budgeted for, that wasn't in the next, sorry, that was, work will be done next year, but because of the, I felt there's urgency, we did it this year. I just picked the most important points that needed to be done.
So
Safety aspect.
we
Exactly.
reached the budget
Yes.
ceiling on the work, which is this then took us over the budget, which is
About
why we've only done,
£400, is it?
yes, and that's why we've brought it
Yes.
to council.
Because that's within your, jurisdiction.
However,
It's been delegated.
Yeah, but
authority.
I authorised it under
Yes.
delegated authority as emergency.
Yes. Okay, I'd just like to say thank you to the property manager for this work. It's been, some of the things we've had a legacy of things not being done, but they are now being done.
Mhm.
And there's other information coming to light, and I welcome the fact we are now taking this more appropriate approach
Yeah.
with all of our tenancies.
Proactive.
Okay, thank you for that. And 2611.
Did we vote?
So I
Oh, did we did,
propose.
yes, we did, sorry,
Second.
yes, we did.
Yeah.
I thought we did,
Unanimous.
okay. 2611 is for you two gentlemen to sign the accounts.
Okay. Could we propose and second that they sign the accounts, that everyone's
I'll
happy?
propose them. Seconded, Councillor Marie, unanimous, right.
Copy of the bank accounts for signature as indicated on
Well, shall I
changes.
just finish the meeting and then you can sign them?
No, it needs to be signed.
You have
at the
to
end of
sign,
the meeting.
technically, we're still in a meeting, thank you. Get your pens out, lads.
One, two.
Chair, can I just raise a query which I'm raising?
Yes, sorry, Councillor Wells.
The valuation of fixed assets. I know we've talked about this before, but they appear in here at historic cost.
Yes,
That is how they are.
I know, but I'm not convinced that that's always necessarily correct. But whether we should be doing valuations at market cost.
Certainly, with the council, you do them at the purchase
Yeah.
costs. I'm not sure about trustee, I have to ask John about charity, but
Yeah.
certainly council is
That
done.
would just worth checking on.
Yes. that's-
could you check on that when you get,
Because the fund is the
yes,
portfolio and the assets. And we need an accurate representation of the value of the fund, which historic cost doesn't give.
it's got to be property assets, the value as of today as well, even if it's not taken into account on the accounting point of view, but at least it will have to be, because when decisions are going to be made going forwards, that's the key information.
It's just,
and
yes.
if improvements are being made, this surely affects the asset value.
But for accountancy purposes, it's on the purchase
Yeah, on the purchase.
price. But obviously,
And there's
all
no
assets need
deviation.
to be valued
Yeah.
to get a true picture of the financial position.
Remember that.
I haven't seen one of them since school.
I still use them.
Used to go home with ink all over the hat.
If you bought cheap pens, mate.
Or through the trousers.
Yeah.
That's what we did as a school kid.
Refills.
That's,
Classic refills.
yeah.
very much more signature.
Thank
I change it by the wind blows.
Right.
you very much.
Have you all the documents signed then?
Mhm.
Okay. Date and time of the next meeting, Wednesday, the 18th of February. I think the meeting is closed.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lieutenant Clark. Thank you, councillors. You're going to